Hey everybody. So today we're working on the S10. Um, Little update on it. So we've got just about everything done and wired in. I know I got some wires hanging out here. These are wires that we aren't going to use and stuff for like nitrous and stuff like that right now. So we'll end up tucking those later. Um, Today we are making spark plug wires. Um, I don't like to use pre-made wires. I like to cut to fit. I get an exact, cleaner look. Um, so I've already made a few here. So we're on number 5. So I'm going to kind of go through, let you kind of watch me make one and see how we route it and stuff like that. Um, and then I'll explain a few things as I'm going. So we got to find the number 5 spark plug. So 135 7, and these these wires, they come a little extra long, but you got a couple shorts in there, uh, and that's so you can kind of you can fit up exactly where you want to go. We're gonna try a short one first. 5 shouldn't be that far of a reach, so let's try this one. So what I like to do is I'll put the boot on the plug. And this 400 small block in here. Of course, my light's gonna go dead while I'm videoing. Um, with this 400 small block in here and a set of headers, it it's tight. It's tight. There's not a lot of real estate in here to work with. Um, so sometimes maneuvering in here can get kind of tight, and so I like to put that on there. It kind of somewhat route it the way that I want to. Now, see, on the number 5 plug, we got to be careful because we're all over the steering shaft. Because, of course, the headers wrap around the steering shaft, so I got to kind of loop this up around here, and I'll have to bend this eventually. I'll bend the plug boot. That's what I like about these MSD plugs. When you mess around with headers and you get to a tight spot, you can sort of bend it to keep it away from everything. So we're almost there, folks. This is probably not the best thing to be filming, but hey, here we are. All right, and what I like to do is I like to go ahead and wrap it around here and route it through my loom because I want to know I can put it exactly where I want it when I'm done. So I'm gonna put it right here, put it right there, and then come over here to the strip cap, lay across there. Now I know this is number 1, so 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5. That's number 5. So I'm just gonna lay it kind of over here. And I'm gonna run this thing exactly like I would run it if I was wiring it up. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5. So number 5. Now, sometimes I take my marker and mark it, but I know right there I'm gonna have to trim it right there at the M on the MSD. All right, so we're gonna pull that out of there. Now, I'm gonna put my number 5 tag on her because see, as you're making them, and different people do this different ways, but I use these little tabs and I'll put them on the wire. That way, when I make this and I throw it across the hood up here, I still know that it's for number 5. All right, so I'm gonna take my little cut pliers, and I know that I want to cut it right here in front of the M on MSD. So I'm gonna, and I will give it just a little bit of slack just so I have something to work with. Just like that. And of course I got these cool pliers here. So I'll come back here, and this is my trimming tool, and I'll trim that about that long, and I'll show you why here in a minute. So I'm gonna give you a little something about crimping. All right, so you see I got about that much, and I'm gonna show you why I got that much. So I got a little example over here. Now I've seen these done several ways, but a lot of times, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong or indifferent, but I've seen people take and trim them real long like that right there and fold it back, right? Just like that. And then they put it in the piece upside down. Okay, because that's your end right there. Okay. And I've seen them do this. And then they'll come in here and they'll take the tool, line it up in the tool like it's supposed to go. Like that. And then they'll crimp it down. Right? And that makes a pretty good crimp. All right. But, and then you can come back here and you can trim this off. You can trim this off. But when you do that, okay, if you look, see how it bubbles out the insulation on the wire? Probably can't see it really well, but it bubbles it out. So to me, that's not a real good connection. Okay. And, you know, things happen, they wear out, movement, you know, electricity vibrates, the motor vibrates, stuff like that. And over time, that insulation can start tearing. And one day when you're pulling your boot off, you can pull that apart. Not that it can't be repaired, but so I like a little added security, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to take our wire and get an end. You can just tell I'm all kind of prepared, right? Okay. So what I like to do is I like to slide it in. There's a secondary groove there. I got to bend that in just a little bit. Okay. Now, when you're crimping these, make sure that you're not crimping like one side more than the other, which is what I'm doing right now. So make sure you get it in there where you're crimping both sides evenly, right? Now, that's crimped. Now, yes, we're bubbled up right here. But watch what I'm about to do. You see this secondary clip right here? And your wire runs up in here, okay? So what I do is I use the end of my crimping tool, and I'll go ahead and grab it right where I want it, okay? And then I'll take me a little screwdriver, a pry bar, or something like that, and I push my wire down in there. And then I make a crimp, okay? Now, what that does, and I don't know if you can see it, so it crimps, so it crimps right here, and it crimps it around your wire. And your wire goes up in here where it sits down on top of the distributor cap, right? So not only are you conducting through your metal conductor, you also got a little wire out on top of the distributor cap, on top of the little button, okay, where it sits down on there. But I've got two-step. I got dual crimping, right? So I got a stronger connection. I guarantee you I got a stronger pull force here than I would with that other crimp. All right. So now what's left to do? We got to put our boot on. So we get our boot. Now, you can fight this all you want. That's totally up to you. But me, I'm not going to fight it. I use a little Seal Glide. Lube makes everything better. We'll do a Seal Glide. Seal Glide for when you want it just to slide on. Okay, so I put a little dab right on the end of the boot. Don't take much. Just a dab will do you. See, just a little dab. Line up my fitting with the boot. Back up a little bit. And just gonna slide it in just like that. Kind of work it a little bit. Push. And I'm looking down in the end for when I see my connector line up. And there we go. There's the number 5 spark plug wire. Pretty neat, huh? So we still got a laundry list of stuff to do, but we are slowly chipping away at this project. Yeah, I'm sure there's people out there that could do it faster, but you know, like I said, we've got everything connected. We've got all of our wiring almost complete. We had to relocate the oil pressure switch on this because of room in the back with the firewall and the distributor in the block. So we relocated that to a remote mount on the firewall. Excuse me. We got our brackets made. We got our coil mounted. We got our PDM mounted. We got our ECM mounted. Did get some stuff done on the inside. We got the screen mounted, and we got all the wiring up for that. So, you know, and with this, when we first got this, you know, it was already a built truck, but it was carbureted and it had the tach and the oil pressure. Well, all of that's going to be on the ECU now. So we pulled all that out, cleaned all that up. And so we're getting really close. We made fuel lines for it in our last video. We made those fuel lines we were making was for this truck. So we've got our fuel lines made. We've got everything plumbed up, cleaned up real nice. This wiring here, I've got to tuck it once we're done, because see, you don't want to just trim it and cut out of it, because in the future this man may want to use it. He may decide later on he wants to go nitrous, or he may decide he wants to add something on. So, you know, we have those abilities to expand the system. We don't ever want to limit the system. We want to have more than we need and have the ability to expand. So really try to get everything real neat and tidy in here in the engine bay. So we're gonna get these spark plug wires made. I've got a couple loose ends I want to tie up before I actually crank it. Do got to change the oil and filter on this deal. This motor's pretty new. He's got the miles on it and the time on it, and it's time to change it. And if I'm not mistaken, it's still got the break-in oil in it. So we definitely want to fix that. And I'm gonna service the transmission. The AN lines that were used for the transmission cooler, they're screw-in type. Both lines are leaking, so we're gonna go ahead and replace those lines, because we don't want him to have to worry about leaking any fluids or anything like that off the rip. And it's like I said in the last video, I want to make sure that I'm giving my customer the best possible product there is. But so we're going to continue making these spark plug wires, and we're going to continue chipping away at this today. I'll give you more updates when I have them, but that's where we're at on this project. It's not very yeah, it's not very interesting, honestly, but it is. So I hope everybody fared the winter storm, and I found out we're gonna get some more snow this weekend supposedly. Man, I live in North Carolina, man. I ain't built for this. Give me my 70 degrees and sunshine any day. You know, I don't know if you've seen the short. We lost our we lost power on Sunday, and we ended up getting it back, and I lost all my work orders and all my estimates, and had built. I even lost the work order on this truck here, and I was really frantic because I was trying to get all the stuff together and figure out what was what and get everything built back together. Well, I ended up calling the company, the POS system that I use, the point of sale system that I use, and they were able to restore it. I appreciate it. Saved me a lot of work, but so we were able to get that fixed, get it restored, and I've got my estimates and work orders back, so that's a good thing. Um, you know, been doing this YouTube thing. I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. Um, the filming is new to me, but uh, I think I'm getting somewhat used to it.